Hi everyone, welcome to this yet another session of weekly legal news update. In this session, we discuss the important legal update that has happened in the past week, and every week, every Friday, we come up with this weekly legal news update. Today, we are going to talk about a very serious issue, which is suicide prevention, because recently, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has come out with a national suicide prevention strategy. Now, do you know that in 2021, 1.68 lakh people died by suicide? This number is even higher than the number of people died of COVID in 2020. Around 1.48 people died of COVID, and in 2021, 1.64 lakh people died of suicide. And majority of the people belong to the age group 18 to 45. So, what is it that people are committing suicide and what can be done about it? So, the government is also taking initiative. Let's see what kind of plans government has to prevent such a thing from happening. So, let's start this session. The session is about 1 second. It's about National Suicide Prevention Strategy framework, goals, and objectives. What are the goals of this strategies? Is this program? What are the objectives that it sought to achieve? And what is the framework? How it will be carried out essentially? So the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare on Monday, that is November 21, unveiled the National Suicide Prevention Strategy. It is, please mind, that first of its kind policy which is formulated by the government to prevent suicides as a public health priority. It comes under mental health only, right? So it's first of its kind that the government has taken initiative to prevent suicide, because usually what we do is that we keep it to the individual, that the state cannot do anything about it. We can only make people aware that don't do it, but if anybody decides to do it, then the state's shuns off its responsibility, that the families have to come together and raise awareness. It is the individual's own choice, but no, the state is also responsible. There are things that can be done. So that is in that direction the state has taken initiative. What is India's national suicide prevention strategy? What is it? According to the ministry, the policy that will set the stage for motion of mental health and prevention of suicides in the coming decade. So it's a long term. We are starting it now. We are taking a target of 10 years. In 10 years, we will notice the number of suicide deaths and how we will implement it, and how ultimately the number should come down. So it's a promotion of mental health and prevention of suicide in the coming decade. So that's the target we are planning to. The goal of the strategy is to reduce suicide mortality country by 10% by 2023. So the short term goal is that by next year at least 10% less suicide should happen. 10% less suicide should happen by 2023. That is also a short term goal. The strategy provides a framework for multiple stakeholders to implement activities for prevention of suicide in the country. Then, what are the objectives of this strategy? There are four objectives. Number one, it seeks to establish effective surveillance mechanism for suicide within the next 3 years. So, as I told you, we are targeting a decade. So, for 3 years, we will establish effective surveillance mechanism. So, suppose in this psychiatric wards or anywhere else where a person is not feeling well, or suppose a person has tried to call the suicide prevention agencies, so we will put surveillance on that person. We will provide assistance to that person. We will make sure that the person does not take that drastic step. So how to monitor that, how to uh, put that in motion, that establishment of the effective surveillance system has to be there, surveillance mechanism has to be there. So that will happen within the next 3 years. Secondly, it seeks to establish psychiatric outpatient departments that will provide suicide prevention services through the district mental health program in all districts within the next 5 years. So for 3 years surveillance, for the next 5 years, all these psychiatrics outpatient departments. So suppose there is a psychiatrist and a patient comes to the psychiatrist, tells me that I'm having suicidal thoughts. So the psychiatrist has those data, and he can help the government in raising awareness, in reaching out to people in all these situations, that how the psychiatric outpatient departments can provide suicide prevention services through the district mental health program in all districts within the next 5 years. Third is it aims to integrate a mental well-being curriculum in all educational institutes within the next 8 years. So for the next 8 years, they will integrate a mental well-being curriculum. So students in the schools will be taught about mental well-being, how to stay healthy mentally, and what happens, how essentially in the schools the students will be taught what to do, what not to do, and about how to keep your mental health in good shape. So that will be included in the curriculum, and the time frame that has been decided for this is the next 8 years. And the fourth objective of the national suicide prevention strategy is to strengthen surveillance of suicide and further generation of evidence through evaluation that will ensure improvement in the program quality. So these are the four main objectives of the strategy. The goal, as I already told you, there is a one long-term goal for a decade, one short-term goal, at least 10% less suicide by next year, 2023, and these are the four objectives. Then who are the stakeholders in how to implement this framework, and who are the persons, who are the institutions, bodies involved in that? The implementation framework of the National Suicide Prevention Strategy envisions five key stakeholders responsible for realizing the objective. These include national level ministerial stakeholders, state level governmental stakeholders, district level governmental stakeholders, NIMHANS. What is NIMHANS? NIMHANS is the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. It's a very reputed educational institute regarding mental health. So it's in Bangalore, and other top mental health institutes and strategic collaborations. So essentially five stakeholders responsible: national level, state level, district level, NIMHANS, and other mental health institutions. So that these are the stakeholders involved in the implementation of this national health mental health strategy, suicide prevention strategy. And here is the proposed structure of implementation. As you can see, that state government is also involved and the district is also involved. There will be collaborations with various ministries, NGOs, civil society organizations, community level health workers, local government and PRI workers, academia, faith-based organizations, all these collaborations, media. This will lead to, and there is a whole structure involved where even the national mental health program will be implemented at the district level, at the state level, and of course the national stakeholders are also involved because it's from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. So this is the proposed structure of implementation, as you can see on the screen. Implementation mechanism, essentially reinforcing leadership, partnership, and institutional capacity in the country. How can all these institutions come together towards the goal of preventing suicide? Enhancing the capacity of health services to provide suicide prevention services, developing community resilience and societal support for suicide prevention and reduce stigma associated with suicidal behaviors in society. Suppose a person is suicidal, so there is a stigma attached to that person. People do not see this as an illness, people do not see this as a problem. They think they even talk ill about the person who is having such thoughts. So being more understanding, being reducing the stigma that is associated with suicidal behaviors. Even under Indian Penal Code, we have section 309, where attempt to commit suicide is punishable as per the section. However, with the Mental Health Act, now the person, if suppose he is attempting suicide and he is not successful, the person, it is not right to send that person to jail or inflict punishment on that person. The person is already suffering. So it is it has been suggested in the Mental Health Act that the person should be given counseling. The person should be sent to the reformation place where he can come out of his mental state with the depressive thoughts that is forcing him to commit suicide, and reintegrate with the with his mental health essentially. So To reduce the stigma associated with suicidal behaviors, that is also one important factor that will be focused on here. Here are some data that is very important. What is the current scenario? How many suicides happen currently? So this data is from the National Report of the National Crime Records Bureau (NCRB), which was released in August. 1.64 lakh people died by suicide in 2021. That's a huge number, and it's an increase of 7.2% from 2020. This is 10% higher than COVID deaths, that is 1.48 lakh COVID deaths in 2020, and 6.8 times the maternal deaths. So there have been 23,800 maternal deaths in the same year. The NCRB report also stated that more than 1 lakh people die by suicide in the country every year. So every year more than lakh people die by suicide. A total of 25,891 suicides were reported in the 53 mega cities of the country. So the big cities, the metro cities, during 2021, with the highest in Delhi. So Delhi had the highest number of suicides. In the past 3 years, the suicide rate in the country has increased from 10.2% to 11.3 per 1 lakh population. 10.2 to 11.3 per 1 lakh population. Most suicides in India are by youth and middle-aged, with 65% of the suicides in 2020 being reported in the age group of 18 to 45 years. So, of course, it is very rare in people uh, below 18 years of age, in the sense that they are still children. They don't know, they're exploring life, they're understanding life, they're excited about life. But once you are burdened with expectations, once you have this anxiety of performance, responsibilities, and in the later years of life, when you're making your career, when you think you are not successful in your career, or a little more later, when you have debts, when you have liabilities, when you have illness, when you have some things that you find it hard to live on. So that is the age group 18 to 45, where the maximum number 65%. However, it's not that the older people above 50 years do not commit suicide. I'll show you the chart also of the age. Here is the chart. As you can see that 7% are people from the age 0 to 18 years, below 18 years of age. 7% have been below 18 years of age, those who have committed suicide. You can see the maximum chunk is 34%, which is 18 years to 30 years. After that, the next is 31% is the people from 30 years to 45 years. So 18 to 30, 30 to 45 is the maximum chunk, 65%. Then 18% are the people from 45 to 60. So 45 years of age to 60 years of age, there are people, 18% people commit suicide. And then we have 9% people above 60 years of age that commit suicide. So even they are there, 90%, 60%, 9% above 60 years of age. So this is the age chart, age distribution of suicide. This is according to 2020 data. Now, what are the other programs that are already running in the country regarding the suicide prevention initiatives in India? So the National Mental Health Policy 2014 sees prevention of mental disorders, reduction of suicide, and attempted suicide as core priority areas. So we have a National Mental Health Policy 2014. So mental disorder, reduction of suicide, and attempted suicide. These are the core priority areas of this. Then we have also Mental Health Care Act 2017, which brought in some necessary changes. The act that came into force from May 2018 effectively decriminalized attempted suicide. I was just telling you that in Indian Penal Code it was criminal offense if a person is committing suicide, but the Mental Health Act 2017, it decriminalized attempted suicide, which was punishable under section 309 of the Indian Penal Code. It ensured that the individuals who have attempted suicide are offered opportunities for rehabilitation from the government, as opposed to being tried or punished. So a person is already burdened with the troubles of life and he's trying to end his life. Now, if he's not successful in that, you put him in prison. How illogical is that? So instead of that, he should be given support from the government for rehabilitation rather than being tried or being punished for that. That will only increase his troubles. So if a person is trying to end his life, he should be shown some sympathy instead of penalizing him. So yes, that is there. The Mental Health Care Act 2017 decriminalized attempted suicide. Several national programs such as National Mental Health Program, National Palliative Care Program, Ayushman Bharat, Nasha Mukti Abhiyan Task Force, these are also in place. So we have all these institutions, all these acts, all these programs, all these strategies already in place, in addition to the national strategy that the government has come out now. And hopefully, according to the structure, according to the plan, it seems hopeful that they will be successful in implementing that, and successful implementation, and at least that will lead to reduction, because currently the situation is very gloomy. 1.6 lakh people dying in a year is a huge number. So if you are thinking about car accidents, road accidents, if you are thinking about COVID, that was such a huge deal that the whole world was shut down, and so many people, more number of people even from the COVID are dying by suicide. That is definitely something that needs to be looked at, and government is taking initiative regarding that. Let's see when the uh, reports come regarding the improvement in the numbers, and hopefully we will see better numbers in the upcoming. By 2023, at least the first target of at least getting less than 10% reduction in the, at least 10% reduction in the suicide, at least that target can be achieved. All right, so this was the some updates regarding the latest strategy that the government is thinking. I'll see you in the next session with the other legal updates, other important acts, other important things that are relevant for your common law admission test and other law entrance examination. Thank you so much.